I managed to transform my skinny fat body in less than 90 days. And now, I will help you achieve the same. Being skinny fat is one of the most frustrating places to be. You don't quite fit into the lean category, and at the same time, you don't look muscular either. Clothes don't fit the way you want, and even after months of working out, you might still feel soft rather than strong. I know exactly how this feels because I've been there. When I first started my fitness journey, I thought I just needed to lift weights and everything would sort itself out. But I quickly realized that building muscle while losing fat isn't as simple as just working out more or eating less. If you are in this situation, you probably have two main goals. You want to get rid of fat while building muscle at the same time. The problem? Most advice tells you to either bulk or cut, leaving you stuck in an endless cycle of feeling unsure about what to do next. The good news? There's a solution. Today, I'm going to share the exact blueprint I used to escape the skinny fat trap, so you can finally transform your body into the lean, muscular physique you deserve. When I first began my fitness journey, I made several mistakes that kept me stuck in this cycle. While I bulked, I ended up gaining fat along with any muscle I might have built, leaving me with an even softer appearance. When I cut, I lost muscle mass, which made me look even smaller and less defined. The turning point for me came when I realized that neither extreme was working because my body needed a different approach, one that focused on building muscle while simultaneously reducing fat. This is what body recomposition is all about. Before I get into the details of the solution, I want to explain why many people end up skinny fat. The primary issue is a lack of muscle mass combined with a higher body fat percentage than desired. When you don't train properly, your body doesn't have a strong muscular foundation to showcase, so even a small amount of fat can make you look soft. Many people believe that simply cutting calories or doing endless cardio will fix this, but what they end up doing is either starving their muscles or burning them off along with the fat. Over time, this not only hinders your ability to gain muscle, but can also slow down your metabolism, trapping you in the same cycle. However, you can break free from the skinny fat trap by following a few key principles. The solution isn't about choosing between a bulk or a cut, it's about creating a state where you can build muscle and lose fat simultaneously. One of the steps I took was to change my mindset. I stopped thinking in terms of bulking or cutting and began focusing on building a solid muscular foundation. I learned that my body needed a stimulus in the form of resistance training to kickstart muscle growth. I made weight training the core of my routine and focused on making every session count. To do this, I've used progressive overload, which simply means gradually increasing the weight, reps, or intensity of my workouts over time. I also realized that staying consistent mattered far more than finding the perfect workout routine. No matter how complicated or fancy a routine might be, if you skip it or can't stick with it, it won't give you results. Now, let me walk you through the exact steps that changed my body so you can use them as your blueprint for success. The first step is to fix your nutrition. I used to think that eating less would make me lean, but that only led to muscle loss and a slower metabolism. The key is to eat at or just above your maintenance level. This means consuming enough calories to fuel your workouts and build muscle, but not so many that you add fat. For me, the magic number was to eat at a slight surplus, around 200 to 300 extra calories per day, while ensuring I hit my protein target. I aim for about 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight because protein is the building block of muscle. I learned that when I started tracking my food and focusing on whole, nutrient-dense meals like lean meats, eggs, vegetables, and complex carbs, I had more energy, my workouts improved, and I finally began to see muscle definition emerge. It's not about drastically cutting calories or going on a restrictive diet. It's about smart, balanced eating that supports muscle repair and growth. Remember the rule: 70% nutrition and 30% workouts. This is the formula when it comes to results. Next comes training, which is the true foundation of transforming your physique. For someone stuck in the skinny fat cycle, lifting weights isn't negotiable. It's the engine that drives muscle growth and reshapes your body. Don't worry, calisthenics athletes, you fall into this category as well. When I first hit the gym, I believed that doing a lot of high-rep, lightweight work was the key to building muscle. I was performing sets of 20 to 25 reps, convinced that the sheer volume would force my muscles to grow. However, after several months, I realized that while high-rep routines did help improve my muscular endurance, they didn't create the necessary stimulus for significant hypertrophy or strength gains. That's when I decided to change my approach. I began incorporating compound movements: squats, deadlifts, bench presses, pull-ups, rows, and overhead presses, with heavier weights and lower rep ranges, typically around 8 to 12 per set. Studies by Schoenfeld and others have shown that this 8 to 12 rep range is optimal for muscle growth because it strikes the perfect balance between mechanical tension and metabolic stress. By lifting heavier, I was forcing my muscles to adapt and grow stronger, and the results were undeniable. I started noticing improvements not just in strength, but in muscle definition as well. This shift wasn't merely a changing of numbers. It was a complete mindset shift. I learned that while high-rep training can be effective for certain goals, like endurance or even when introducing new exercises, the key to building muscle and breaking through plateaus is progressive overload. By gradually increasing the weight and lowering the rep count, I was able to create a stronger anabolic stimulus that led to more pronounced growth over time. This approach helped me overcome the stagnation I experienced during those early high-rep phases, where I felt like I was working hard without seeing the muscle gains I desired. Along with hypertrophy training, you need to be smart about cardio. Many skinny fat people fall into the trap of either doing too much cardio or avoiding it altogether. I used to skip cardio completely, thinking that it would only burn muscle, but I learned that, when done correctly, it is actually beneficial. The trick is to keep it moderate. I do low-intensity steady-state cardio, like a 20 to 30 minute incline walk or a gentle bike ride, 2 or 3 times per week. This level of cardio helps me burn fat, improve my cardiovascular health, and enhance recovery without compromising my strength training. On days when I want to ramp things up, I might add a short session of high-intensity interval training, but I'm careful not to overdo it. Timing is crucial too. I always do my cardio either after weight training or on separate days altogether. Doing cardio before lifting has been proven to deplete energy levels and reduce the quality of my workouts, so I never mix them in the same session if I can avoid it. I also learned to track my progress meticulously, and that made all the difference in my journey. In the beginning, I simply relied on the scale, thinking that a lower number would automatically reflect my progress. But I soon realized that progress isn't just about the number on a scale. It's also about the strength I was gaining and the way my body looked and felt in the mirror. I started keeping a detailed workout log, writing down the weights I lifted, the sets I completed, and the reps I performed, so I could look back and see incremental improvements over time. I also took progress photos every few weeks, which became a powerful visual reminder that even when the scale didn't move much, my body was changing in subtle yet significant ways. Over time, these records became my most valuable tools. They kept me motivated during periods when changes were slow, and they helped me adjust my training program when I noticed a plateau. I even experimented with a few apps for logging workouts, but even a simple notebook and a camera can work. Another critical aspect that many beginners overlook is the importance of exercise frequency. If you train a muscle group only once per week, you might have to overload that session with too many sets, which can lead to fatigue and suboptimal performance. I found that splitting the volume over 2 or 3 sessions per week allows me to maintain intensity and proper form in each session, which leads to better overall results. For instance, instead of doing all my leg work in one day, I split it into 2 sessions, allowing my muscles to recover better and ensuring that I can still lift heavy the next time. This approach not only improves performance, but also reduces the risk of overtraining and injuries, as your body gets regular, manageable stimulation and sufficient time to repair. It also provides more opportunities to fine-tune technique with each session, further enhancing long-term gains. Recovery is another cornerstone of this entire process. I learned the hard way that no matter how hard I trained or how well I ate, I wouldn't see results if I didn't allow my body to rest. Recovery is when the real magic happens. The muscles repair themselves, grow stronger, and adapt to the stresses you put on them. I now prioritize getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, something I neglected for years. On my rest days, I go for a light walk or do some gentle stretching, which helps reduce muscle soreness and keeps my body moving. Stress management is equally important. When I was overwhelmed with work and not getting enough rest, I noticed that my progress stalled, and I was more prone to injuries. Learning to manage stress through mindfulness and simple relaxation techniques has been a game changer. It's important to remember that every person is different. What works for me might not work for you exactly the same way. There are factors like genetics, training history, nutrition, and even daily stress levels that determine how many sets, how much weight, and how many calories you need. That's why I always encourage you to experiment with your training and adjust based on your own progress. Don't be afraid to make small changes. If you notice that you're constantly sore, your strength isn't increasing, or you're feeling burnt out, it might be time to adjust your volume or take an extra day of rest. The key is to listen to your body and adapt your plan accordingly. I know it can be overwhelming at first, but remember that your journey is unique. There isn't a one-size-fits-all solution, but the guidelines I've shared have worked wonders for me, and I'm confident they can work for you too if you commit to them. The transformation won't happen overnight, but with consistent effort over the next 3 to 6 months, you'll see that you're not only building muscle and losing fat, but you're also gaining confidence, strength, and energy in every aspect of your life. Every time I revisit these principles, I'm reminded of how far I've come. I remember the early days when I felt defeated every time I stepped on the scale, and I thought I was destined to be forever stuck in a body that didn't reflect my true potential. If you ever feel overwhelmed, just revisit these guidelines. They're designed to be your comprehensive roadmap, a complete guide that answers the most common questions and challenges faced by those stuck in the skinny fat cycle. I'd love to hear your story. What challenges have you faced on your journey? What strategies have worked for you? And where do you feel stuck? Drop a comment below and share your experiences. I'll try my best to reply to everyone. If you want to achieve a Greek god physique naturally, make sure you watch my video series where I rank the best and worst exercises for muscle building.